Folks, welcome to Everything Pro Wrestling. This is episode 19. Everything Pro Wrestling is a show by the fans for the fans. With me tonight, I have two special guests. First, my main man, Jacob Grove. Grove, say what's up to the people.
What's up, people?
All right. And returning, once again, his name is Josh Mason, but I call him Rez. Rez, say what's up, man.
What's up, dudes?
All right. Got the face on for us tonight. I like it. Folks, if you're just watching the video, please make sure to leave a like on the video and share your thoughts on the topics that we discuss in the video. Leave as many as you want. And also, in the description, we have our Facebook group page. If you haven't and you like to talk wrestling, join the Facebook group. I'll approve it immediately after the show and join up. But let's not waste any time, guys. Let's talk WWE Payback 2016. The show was live from Chicago, Illinois, and I thought it was a good show. There was some complaints afterwards I saw online that I don't agree with, really. But let's get what you guys thought of the show. First, the pre-show. We had Dolph Ziggler defeating Baron Corbin in Corbin's first loss. What did you guys think of that match? Grove,
I thought the match overall was really good. I actually really enjoyed the match overall. I thought they did a really good job making Corbin look strong. I didn't agree with the finish. I feel like they would have done better suited to have Corbin take the win. But otherwise, I thought it was overall a pretty good match, showing off some skills. Corbin's looking a lot better in his matches every time I see him get in the ring. So,
Rez, what did you think of Dolph beating Baron Corbin?
I preferred Baron Corbin getting the win, but it happened, so I mean, it's good that Dolph won because he doesn't really win much. I don't know, I'm kind of indifferent on it. I wish Baron had won, but it's whatever.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you guys on that. I mean, when I saw this, why did Baron Corbin have to lose right here? I think they just did it kind of to shock people because it was the pre-show, first match. Oh, bet you didn't see this coming. This is actually the only match I got wrong in my predictions last week. So
I actually didn't see it coming that early, so.
Yeah, and I don't like how they put it as it was the rookie mistake. If you guys saw it, Baron Corbin got rolled up basically by Dolph Ziggler. Why is it if he was in NXT would he make a rookie mistake? You know what I mean? To me, it just didn't make sense. True. I thought NXT is where you make those rookie mistakes. Now you're in the top level. You shouldn't make those mistakes, but maybe that's just me. We get into the next match, which it wasn't a big deal until the next day, until we found out more news, and we'll get into that later. But we have Kalisto defeating Ryback, a.k.a. the pre-show stopper, in a good match, I'd say. I think it was much better than the WrestleMania match. Grove, what did you think of it?
Personally, I thought that the match was probably one of the better matches I've seen Ryback have in a while. I honestly was very pleased with Kalisto. Not a lot of, he did a lot of his high-flying moves, and this was one of the matches that I love from Kalisto, when he has, a match where he does all the high-flying and it's on point. Sometimes I think he stretches himself too thin and he botches a few moves here and there, but, this match was on point. That top rope gorilla press at the end was awesome. I thought the ending was awesome for it. So overall, I thought it was a good match.
Rez, what were you thinking with the Kalisto and Ryback match?
I'm glad Kalisto won. I haven't cared about Ryback ever since he came in. I've just never liked him. So I'm glad Kalisto won. But in the matchup screen before the match actually took place, when you look at Kalisto, is it just me or did Kalisto look exactly like Rey Mysterio? And that's not just their luchadors. He looks spot on like Rey Mysterio. It was ridiculous.
I think that's why they like him a lot, though. He has that appeal of Rey Mysterio, and he has the same athleticism. So, I mean, I don't see a problem with that. I think it's really cool. One thing I did want to bring up was Ryback mocking CM Punk in his entrance. I don't know if that was planned or whatever, but come on, man. that was not the right move to make either for Ryback. But if you wanted heat, maybe that was the smart thing to do. But overall, good move, good match. The press slam that you talked about, bro, where he did it off the top rope, that is definitely something I would like to see in the WWE 2K video games. So if anyone's a fan of those.
Probably an OMG or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we
Yeah,
get
I
into
saw it and I was like, man, that's straight out of Jericho versus Rey Mysterio, WCW right there.
It was just a cool move. I was surprised Ryback pulled that off and made it look flawless. So good job, Ryback, on that. The pay-per-view basically opens up here with New Day. New Day comes out. Before I start saying anything, first thing I noticed was New Day is so over, like ridiculous still, that I love it. It's just good to see them in there, and they do their usual shtick. They hype up the pay-per-view before they start up with the openers and stuff, and I thought they did a really good job with that. The first match is Enzo, Amore, Big Cass versus the Vaudevillains. Match really didn't get off to anything. The main point of the match was Enzo looked like he was supposed to slide underneath the bottom rope or through the bottom rope. I don't know what happened, but his neck kind of got whiplashed off the second rope and the bottom rope. It looked awful, whatever happened to him. And I was watching it with my girlfriend at the same time, and she knew instantly the look on my face that she was like, oh, someone's hurt. Because I could tell instantly the way his body laid limp. I was like, yeah, he's not getting up from that. He's messed up. So
it was so vicious. It was just vicious, the way it happened.
Yeah, Enzo's not a big guy either. And I've always said this, when I look at people in the ring, I can tell, like, sloppiness and when something bad is going to eventually happen. And Enzo's one of those guys that he's not sloppy when he's taking care of you, but I fear for him when he's taking moves for someone else because he's trying to make them look good. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know, man. He looks like he's going to break his leg or break his arm or something when they're just launching him off stuff. And I'm like, hey, he's got to be careful with that. Grove, what did you think of Enzo's injury and everything? I mean,
yeah, I mean, like, I was super hyped for this match. I was really excited to see two NXT teams get that shine and get to the end of the tournament. I was super bummed when that happened during the match because I don't know, man. Like, you and I have talked a long time ago. I wasn't a big New Day fan. Now that they've done this face turn and they're super over, and after going to a few live events, I'm really enjoying their work. And like, them ringside was almost as entertaining as the match. And then like, when that went down with Enzo, I was like, oh man, like I was super pumped for that match, and I was ready to watch like a great NXT tag match happen on the main roster. And then that happened, and I was like, and then with him being out now with the concussion, I mean, with WWE's new concussion policy, he could be out for over a month now with them trying to make sure he's good to go. So I'm pretty disappointed with that because I feel like they were really over. I loved his pre-match promo. The stuff he was saying pre-match was on point. I loved it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with Rez on the whole. That was pretty scary stuff to have happen. And once everyone, I think some people were like, "Is this a work or not?" Until they saw Big Cass crying. I noticed on Twitter, a lot of people didn't notice that, and that was the sad part where you're like, "Oh yeah, he's definitely hurt," and Cass is worried for him. And the live crowd didn't know either that Enzo was moving and talking. I don't know if they weren't fed the updates, but I tweeted Damian Nelson of PWR show to let him know what was actually going on. And he was like, oh, well, that's good news to hear. So I'm assuming that no one in the building knew. I don't know if anyone was there live that is going to comment on it or in the Facebook group, but let me know if you guys were not updated on it. That just seemed odd that no one said anything. Rez, do you got anything you want to add to that?
I love the New Day segment. They're always so clever with their jokes. The whole it goes down in the DM was funny. But I think Cass on the mic shined through. I'm liking these references that he's making. Like the whole Hey Arnold thing was great. And then like on Raw when he made the Dudley's Do Right reference was great. I think he needs to stay doing things like that it fits the kind of wackiness of their team. Although with the injury happening in the first match, and now maybe Big Cass being on his own for the time being, I don't know. It's an awkward spot to see him in because I feel like he needs Enzo. But yeah, I don't know. The first match having that happen was just horrible.
I have always No, I was going to say I've always said that they're like the New Age Outlaws, where I think that they complement each other so well. And Enzo talks, Kaz works, and Kaz is picking up a little bit of the talking points, keep them short and sweet, and let them be funny. So I like that they're doing that. But I think it's too soon to break this team up. I know that they probably like Big Cass a lot because of his height. He's a big guy, things like that. But I think it's too soon to split this team up. Let Cass work alone for a little bit, and I think everything will be fine.
Well, I don't mean like break them up, but I mean like just him on his own for the time being, till Enzo can come back. I just think that being rough.
Yeah, when I started watching NXT, Enzo was actually out with a broken leg. Same thing, he was injured, and Cass was by himself, and he was actually feuding with Aiden English, and I thought they did fine just then. So it was overall scary stuff here, but they transitioned nicely into what I thought was match of the night here, and I know Grove's going to be happy to talk about this. Kevin Owens defeats Sami Zayn in what I think is a must-watch match, and it told a great story. And this is something WWE's been missing for years with the mid-card talent. This is the stuff I was speaking about for so long. This is what they have to do to let these guys get over. And I thought they did a perfect job here of telling the story of Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Kevin Steen, El Generico, whatever you want to think of it as. They did a good job here. So, Grove, I'm going to kick it to you first. Thoughts on this match?
Well, let me first start out with the video package before this match was on point. Like, I saw it roll up on Twitter a few days beforehand. I watched it at least a dozen times before the pay-per-view. This feud is something that, I've watched them since ROH. I've watched PWG stuff and things like that. These guys are made to make great matches. They're a great tag team too if they ever make that transition. Like when Sami Zayn was talking about in that social media lounge or whatever. He was talking about how, who knows, maybe in the future something will happen. That would be cool. But the match itself, I mean, I've watched dozens of matches in the last 6 months of just these guys on different DVDs and things going at it. And this match, I think, outdid their NXT TakeOver match, which I'm glad for because the TakeOver match was kind of a squash on Zayn's. So it was really good to see him, really put the fight to him. Overall, I just thought the match was fantastic. Easily match of the night for me. And honestly, right now, it's front runner for me for one of the matches of the year, in my opinion. It was absolutely fantastic, and I feel like if they keep it going, I feel like this could be feud of the year easy.
Rez, what did you think of Kevin Owens defeating Sami Zayn?
I have to agree, and it's a really good match, but I think the post-match segments with Kevin Owens was really what made it. Everything was just spot on. Like, the match was really good, and then when you had the post-match thing with Owens and Byron Saxton in the ring, that was great. And then Kevin Owens going on commentary. Everything was just great. Like, it transitioned really well, I think.
Yeah, I like how Owens put his focus back on the Intercontinental Championship. Like, yeah, this is what you cost me. Now I'm going back to it. You're done. You're out of my life. I'm through with you. And he's got this kind of he has to have the IC title back. And I like how it led into the next match, which was The Miz defeating Cesaro. And basically what happens in this match is due to Sami Zayn coming back out after the match and fighting with Kevin Owens, they end up costing Cesaro the title match, helping Miz retain. But it looks like there's going to be some type of maybe four-way feud with these guys. That's what I see happening. Girl, what do you see going on here?
Honestly, like, that match, to me, it was a decent match, but the Owens commentary made me love that match. Like, his commentary, the whole match was fantastic. His little jabs at Michael Cole and at Byron were great. I loved listening to him play off of JBL during commentary. Cesaro, you can't put. I mean, you could put Cesaro in the ring with a bag of manure, and he'd still put on at least a 3-star match. And Miz is kind of a bag of manure lately, so you never know. Like, I honestly, like, Miz is doing all right lately with the championship. I mean, him and, bringing Maurice in is basically making him relevant again. I don't know, like, the feud itself, I really don't like. Like, I love that Kevin Owens is going back for the IC title. I don't necessarily like the idea of turning it into a big 4-way feud. Just because I feel like it's going to take away from Zayn and Owens. If they make it where it's basically 2 separate feuds and they just have a 4-way match, that might be better in my opinion, as long as you keep telling the story. We'll talk about it later when we get into Raw, but the segment on Raw really symbolized it. I loved watching Owens, like, take out, I mean, he hit the pop-up on Miz, and it showed him holding the belt up right at the end of that segment, and I thought that was fantastic, seeing him holding that title again. I'm glad they're not, like, just glossing over him now that he's not the champ again, and trying to get him back in that feature was really good. So,
Rez, what are your thoughts with the Miz Cesaro match and everything that was going on in there?
I wanted Cesaro to win, but I knew Miz was going to win. I mean, yeah, Cesaro got a new gimmick, kind of, but the Miz is doing good, and he has Maurice, and it's like, he's not going to lose to Cesaro. It's just, he's got things going for him. I knew he wasn't going to lose, but, yeah, the whole Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn thing during the match was also good, and it made sense. So, I mean, I have no complaints with anything that happened. Everything was all good. Like, every part of it.
Yeah. Next match was Dean Ambrose defeating Chris Jericho. And I call this kind of like a wrestling brawl. I don't know how to put it. They kind of had it was a good match to me. Just it's not going to get the credit it deserves just because of how many other great matches were on here. But I like the match personally. Dean Ambrose defeats Jericho with a dirty deeds after using like several knees, and then he just plants them. Overall good match though. What did you guys think of it, Grove?
well, I mean, I watched that match, and honestly, like you were saying, like, it's not going to get the credit it deserves. I mean, it was a fantastic match, I thought. I thought it was a great match, but on a card where you had a bunch of other matches that were fantastic too, it kind of gets lost in the shuffle. I think these two guys really play off of each other really well. Overall, I thought it was a great match. The ending was pretty good. I half expected them to let Jericho get the win since they let him take over, let him go over on AJ. But I'm glad that they actually let Ambrose win on this one because Ambrose has kind of been getting done dirty lately. So I was happy to see him get the win there, and I just thought it was a really good back and forth, hard fought match. I was really pleasantly surprised with how well the match went. Jericho really held his own.
Rez, what are you thinking of Ambrose picking up that win?
I'm just going to be really blunt. I wasn't too invested in the match, Ambrose versus Y2J. I don't know if it's because Y2J, but I wasn't invested. Like, it was an okay match in my opinion, but I wasn't really all that invested in it. But.
Gotcha. I mean, I liked it. I liked that they took over each other's shows and they set it up the way they did. It was all right for what it did. And when we get into Raw, I think it progressed very well as to what happened with the story. Match I have a problem with here. I have like okay with question marks and stuff next to it. Okay for the wrestling, but Charlotte with Ric Flair defeats Natalya with Bret Hart. The wrestling in it seemed okay, but I hate the finish of this match. It's god awful with like the Montreal screw job with Charles Robinson and whatever, Little Nate. I don't know what the hell this was supposed to be or why they even did it this way or what they were thinking. And then they end with dual sharpshooters on both the Flairs. Girl, what did you think of this women's match?
All right, so I apologize ahead of time. There's gonna be a little bit of a rant on this one. Number one, like at this point, Charlotte to me is not the women's champion. Ric Flair is the women's champion. You watch every match so far since Charlotte's been champion. Pretty much Ric Flair's won her the match. She hasn't had hardly any clean wins since she won the title. She got a clean win against Nikki Bella, but otherwise every other match has had Ric interfering in some way, whether it's throwing a coat on top of Becky Lynch's head or kissing Becky Lynch or whatever, holding Sasha back. I don't know. It really bothers me. Like, number one, like, there's a lot of really talented divas, and honestly, like, Natty being in the match kind of shocked me that she was the one getting the shot. But honestly, like, she's had clean wins over Charlotte a bunch already, and to have her, like, just keep getting these screw jobs happening to her, it's pretty frustrating. I mean, I don't know, like, the ending of this match really bothered me because I was like, you guys are all about, the whole thing about this new women's division is it's supposed to empower women, and it's supposed to make women look like, legitimate wrestlers and this and that. And then you put Charlotte as the champion and you have her daddy win her every single match. It's really cheapening their message that they're trying to put out for the women's division. So I don't know, like, I think Charlotte's a great wrestler. I thought she was great in NXT, but as soon as her dad showed up, like, all of a sudden she just turned into, like, not even, like, she's, like, just not having a good, in my opinion, she's just not showing off the skills that got her to the dance. And I feel like she has tons of women that she could put on, match of the year quality matches with in the women's division. And lately, like, because of Rick, it's been tarnished, I feel like. So I don't know. I feel like it's just burying the women's division with that kind of ending like that. And I'm pretty disappointed in it. I am excited for the submission match at Extreme Rules, but otherwise, like, pretty disappointed overall.
Rez, same question, brother.
All right, so I watched Payback with a friend. He came over, and we thought this match was pretty good for what it was. But then when that finish happened, we both looked at each other and our jaws dropped, and we're like, "What? She didn't tap. Why is the bell ringing? What the hell is going on?" And then it popped into my head. Oh, they're doing the screw job thing again. And it's like, come on, that's happened before. Like, I thought you guys buried the hatchet, and Brett and Sean, made up. But it's like, then you're just going to throw it in the Hart's face again with another screw job. It's like, come on. Natalia and Brett deserve way better. And I really don't care for Charlotte. It's a lot like Grove said, where Grove was talking about how Rick has been pretty much winning her championship matches. And it's like, in my opinion, I think Sasha should have won at WrestleMania. Like, I think that's where Charlotte's reign should have ended. I was pulling for Natty in this one.
Yeah, I feel that I don't know why. I feel like maybe because of Brett's comments previously with Rez, I can't hear you, brother. You getting that noise too, Grove?
Yeah, I'm getting that noise from Rez. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Let me see if I can... Alright, I muted his mic for a second, just so he knows if you want to send him a message. I don't know what happened there. So, I don't know. I just don't like that they did that. Maybe it's because of whatever situation he may be in. He could be... I don't know. Bret Hart made some bad comments before, if you guys don't know, about not wanting to be there. And I'm wondering if they did that to him on purpose to, I don't know, just to stick it to him. You know how WWE is. They can be spiteful about certain things at times. So, who knows? we get into the Vince McMahon announcer Shane and Stephanie will share Raw responsibilities, basically. I thought the segment was too long. What did you think, Grove? I mean, are you excited to see Shane and Stephanie sharing the responsibilities now, or what?
I don't know. Overall, I'm kind of disappointed with the situation. I've been loving the Shane era. There's certain things that he's done so far that I really enjoy. I feel like he's actually making an effort to use the NXT stars that he is bringing up. And overall, I've been enjoying the Shane era. The whole thing with him being in charge and it basically making his match at WrestleMania kind of pointless. I don't know if that part bugs me, but with him and Stephanie, I mean, if Raw was any indicator, they played off of each other all right there. So I have high hopes for Shane being able to balance Stephanie out. But I wouldn't have been disappointed if they would have just made it Shane, because Shane has been super impressive since his arrival. So,
All right, Rez, what do you think of Shane and? Yeah, Rez, what do you think of Shane and Stephanie basically sharing Raw responsibilities now?
First off, I want to say sorry. My other Bluetooth cut out. I don't know where I dropped you guys, but yeah, I think Shane should have been the GM. The whole time leading up to it, when Vince was talking, all these like what if scenarios kept popping into my head, and I was like, man, they're in Chicago. What if CM Punk came out after Stephanie and Shane came out? And what if CM Punk was like, well, like I said years ago, neither of you are fit to run this place, so I'm going to come in and do it. That was one what if scenario, but all in all, what actually happened, Vince naming both of them like in charge, I thought it was all right. It's good to see Stephanie kind of going with it.
Yeah, I think it's part of the storyline, which I'll speak my thoughts on it later. But the whole Stephanie and Shane, I'm fine with it as long as we didn't get that draft. I know some people are big fans of having the draft. I personally think it's a bad move just by how WWE did it previously. I didn't like how they did it. They overstepped their boundaries, so I'm fine with how they did this. Hopefully, this doesn't carry on too long and doesn't get too cheesy, because sometimes they do a bad job with like people being GMs or commissioners, whatever you want to call it. We get to the main event of the night, which I thought was pretty good. It's Roman Reigns defeating AJ Styles with a bunch of shenanigans. It may have been overbooked in my opinion as well. Too much stopping matches, restarting them, trying to fool the crowd and everything. Cool spots I liked in it was the forearm smash through the table. Definitely really cool. Once again, another like OMG moment for WWE 2K17. It looked definitely like something that people want to replay in a video game. Nothing really happened with Gallows and Anderson. I think a lot of people were expecting like okay, here's what's happening in the story, but they kind of just muddy through it and let it continue on, which, okay, I get it. If they're doing some long-term story, that's fine, but their track record hasn't been great with that, so we'll see where it goes. And they already made the rematch for it as well, guys. What did you think of the match overall, bro?
overall, I was actually pretty impressed. I felt like it was probably one of the better Roman Reigns matches I've seen in a long time. It definitely was better than his match with Triple H at Mania. I feel like they finally let AJ Styles be AJ Styles in a pay-per-view match. His matches with Jericho were good, but I really enjoyed this match for what it was. The overbooking, like you said, that definitely was the case in my opinion. I knew like when they stopped like the count out thing and then they went into the DQ thing, like I don't know, like I felt kind of shitty to see AJ win the match twice and then have him lose the last fall via pinfall. I don't know. I felt like it was a little bit anticlimactic. I'm glad they're giving him the rematch, but they're basically inviting it to be another overbooked match and at Extreme Rules, in my opinion. By making it Extreme Rules, you've got, now you've got the Usos and Gallows and Anderson almost guaranteed to get involved. I know. I was kind of happy that they didn't have the Bullet Club turn on AJ. A lot of people were predicting they were going to turn on him, and they were going to end up with Roman and be the Roman Empire. I'm kind of glad that they're going with like the Samoan Empire versus the Bullet Club. In my opinion, I think that's going to be good. In my opinion, we'll talk more about that for the Monday Night Raw match. But overall, I thought the pay-per-view match was probably one of the better matches I've seen out of Roman in a long time.
Rez, same question about the main event, brother.
Yeah, I thought it was really solid. I think this was a really good showcase of a high flyer versus like a powerhouse. This match to me was a really good showcase of that. You don't really get like good showcases all the time, but this was definitely one of them. For me, it was a bit predictable. I called it. I was like, all right, it's going to be count out. And then I called the disqualification, and lo and behold, it happened. So, I mean, I wasn't too disappointed, but to me, it was predictable, and I called each thing that was going to happen. But as far as them announcing the match for Extreme Rules right at the end of the pay-per-view, I felt like maybe that was too soon. Maybe you could have done it on Raw. But I felt like that was really soon. But the match, though, was really good. I think that table spot was, no pun intended, phenomenal.
Yeah, they definitely did a good job, and I see chemistry here. So, and I get why they did the whole two false finishes or whatever you want to call them. It was to set up the next match so AJ could get a rematch despite him losing. Whatever, I'm fine with it. Overall, though, the people who were complaining about Payback because Roman won, I saw some really bad reasons for it. Stop the blind hate for Roman Reigns is the one thing I have to ask people to do. There's legitimate things about him that people can say, yeah, I don't like this, I don't like that. Understandable, but don't say you didn't like a show because someone won a match or your favorite guy didn't get the victory. That's silly stuff. And I don't agree with WWE's got to work on... Let me say this. I agree with WWE's way they're going with things. I don't like the fact of how they're finishing their matches to get to those things, though. I saw some bad finishes on this pay-per-view that I didn't like for certain things. That's just me. We move on, guys, to the next segment, which is Monday Night Raw review. It's from St. Louis, Missouri. Show opens up basically with Cesaro defeating Kevin Owens via DQ. Girl, what did you think of that match?
Overall, I thought the match itself was pretty good. I knew it was going to end via DQ as soon as I saw Miz ringside. I knew that something was going to happen, and I knew Zayn wouldn't be able to keep his nose out of it. I am getting kind of frustrated with the whole thing. Like, they keep talking about it, and it's the truth. Like, Owens has a contracted rematch clause, and they just keep ignoring it and making him fight Cesaro. I'm like, this same match happened last month. Like, I don't know. That part bothered me. If it is setting up for a fatal four-way for the title, it could be. I mean, in that match, if you put 3 of those 4 guys in that match, it's going to be a great match. So Miz can hang out in the corner while the other 3 tear it down ROH style. Like, I feel like that'll be great. Cesaro and Owens have great chemistry in the ring together. So, I mean, I knew the match would be fantastic. Segment, I have to say I absolutely loved the Owens work, like coming out and interrupting Stephanie and Shane and having that little banter back and forth. I love watching him, argue with Shane after he's been doing for the last couple of weeks. I thought that was great. So overall, I thought it was a good segment. Seeing Zayn holding up the title at the end, as much as I'm a Kevin Owens fan, I did really enjoy seeing him holding up that belt. I thought it looked good. I like seeing Sami get that shine, and really, if they're going to push, at least they're giving at least one NXT guy that they just brought up some big shine there. So,
Rez, I got a different question for you. The Miz,
All right.
How do you feel about his run as IC champion, and has he improved as a character in the recent months to you?
I like him as IC champion. I mean, he's already got a lot of IC championship reigns under his belt. So I think that's probably an accolade he'll probably have in the future. But I think he's improved slightly, but I think he was already good, though, as a character, because he knew, it's like you said, he knows what he he needs to do. He knows how to do it, and that's being a heel. And then Maurice is just like the icing on the cake. It's just, it adds more to his character, but I think he was really solid on his own. But the duo of Maurice and Miz, it really translates well to like the on-screen performance.
Yeah, I definitely like the pairing.
I'm digging it.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with you there. Like, I previously have been a pretty big Miz fan, and he had kind of slipped off for me after he lost Sandow, but yeah, I mean, you said it a while back in one of these podcasts that, Miz is pound for pound one of the best heels in the company just because he knows how to make people hate him. And bringing in his super hot wife that everybody in the world still shocked she married Miz. I mean, fact is, bringing in his super hot wife only makes people hate him even more. So I think, and she's doing a good job being at ringside and everything, and I think he's a genuinely good heel. So I got to agree with both of you guys on that point. I think he's really improved, I think, over the last couple of months.
Yeah, Miz has done a good job. I think he's still one of the best true heels, I'll say, in the company. Dean Ambrose and Stephanie McMahon have a segment. Ambrose thinks Stephanie being nice to Shane is an act, basically. And she's going to be a guest on the Ambrose Asylum tonight. Leads into the next segment of another backstage interaction with R-Truth and Tyler Breeze. I think they were called Gorgeous Truth versus, I don't know if it's Gold Dango or Dango Dust. Gold Dust and Fandango backstage. There were some funnies in here. Before, when it was just R-Truth and Goldust going back and forth, it started losing its charm on me, but I do like that R-Truth's walking around basically with a phone attached to a stick, and Tyler has a selfie stick, and I'm just like, what is going on? And Goldust and Fandango dancing. I'm like, man, I didn't even know Goldust could dance like that. I was just like, okay, props to Goldust. All funny stuff here, and they basically set up a match for Tyler Breeze to go against Goldust. Tyler Breeze defeats Goldust, and I'm going to say this now. Finally, Tyler Breeze gets a victory that we all could see on Raw, so I was happy with that. He wins by roll-up. I can't complain. I wanted him just to get a win and make Tyler Breeze more important, so I like it. I'm wondering if maybe these guys will end up switching partners, and Goldust and R-Truth will be a team, taking on maybe Fandango and Tyler Breeze. I don't know how everyone feels about that. I'm just trying to put stuff together in my head as to maybe they could go that route. Would they be good teams? Gro, what do you think overall of this pairing of random teams?
I got to tell you, like, when they brought out the Fandango versus R-Truth a couple of weeks ago with Goldust as the ref, that dance off that they had there was fantastic. Watching Goldust do the stanky leg in the back is great. Honestly, like, I'm loving that they're giving some of these guys that don't normally get TV time these chances to shine. Fandango got to bust out his super long pronunciation of his name. Seeing Tyler Breeze finally get a win is absolutely something that I was thrilled about. I've been watching him, in NXT and since he's been on the main roster, and overall been super disappointed with how they're treating him on the main roster, and I know we're going to talk about that later, but seeing him get the win, I do hope they do the swap of the partners. I personally have thought Tyler Breeze and Fandango could make a good tag team. I feel like they're both got that flamboyant personality, and if they're going to go that route with Tyler Breeze, that shooting the breeze stuff he's been doing on YouTube and his little things on up, down, down really are showing that other side of him where he's not necessarily a straight heel. So also I saw a thing on Twitter of Tyler Breeze and R-Truth's do-rag, and after seeing that I was like, this is the greatest comedic segment I've seen in a long time. So can't go wrong with the literal selfie stick, and overall I thought it was great. I especially like the fact that the duct tape that's holding the phone on is covering his screen as well. I thought that was fantastic as well.
Yeah, R-Truth he's got some funny stuff. I don't know if he thought of that or someone in creative did, but shout outs to whoever thought of that. Rez, do you have any thoughts on this?
R-Truth is a character, and that's probably the best way to put it. he's a character himself. I love anything that has to do with Goldust. Goldust is actually like legitimately one of my favorites. He's always just so entertaining. But I do agree. I feel like Tyler Breeze and Fandango should have been a team way earlier. I mean, you get two egomaniacs like that. They're so self-absorbed. I think that they would really synergize with each other. I mean, that would just be a really heel team, and I'd see a bunch of dirty tactics happening. Who knows? Maybe this will lead into, like Goldust and Truth being like the comedic kind of people versus like, Fandango and Tyler Breeze who want to be taken seriously, but against Truth and Goldust, you won't really get that. And so I feel like that would just kind of like fuel the fire. But I feel like, Goldust, he kind of puts people over, like he makes them look good. Truth, it's kind of, I don't know, he's our Truth. He just does whatever he wants, really. But, yeah, I totally agree with you on the whole Fandango Tyler Breeze thing. But the whole segment was good.
Yeah, I feel like Goldust picked Breeze to go over in this. Like he's like, no, I want this kid to beat me. He needs to win more than I do. And Goldust and R-Truth seem like they're already set. They know what they got going on, what they're gonna do. So I was okay with this. Thumbs up for that segment. New Day come out. They cut a promo on the Vaudevillains and give them the business. And the Vaudevillains come out and they try and get some heel heat, saying Enzo isn't a real man and he should have got up from that injury. I mean, like I said, that injury was real tough to watch. And I'm okay with them playing off of it because by then everyone knew he was fine. And hopefully this leads to a big match between them and Enzo gets his heat back. I don't know, it was just an unfortunate accident that occurred. The Dudley Boys come out and they say they want the tournament restarted. They've been in wrestling for how many years and they think a tournament's going to restart? But funny. And then I was surprised when Big Cass music hit and he comes out. And I was just like, oh, okay, I see right where this is going. So they make the match basically. New Day, Big Cass defeat the Vaudevillains and the Dudley Boys, and Cass ends up pinning Devon. Grove, what are you thinking of the tag team scene right now with these 4 teams in it, and what do you see going on here?
Honestly, like the tag team division right now for me is so strong, and that makes me so happy because I love tag team wrestling and seeing it finally kind of getting that shine. Well, and again, we'll get into more of that other NXT stuff, people being brought up and things like that. But honestly, like I didn't see him talk much in NXT, but I actually kind of love Simon Gotch on the mic. I loved the making him the realest guy in the emergency room, and I love that he properly does the Enzo, wherever you are, how are you doing? I thought that was fantastic. I also Cass and Enzo just fantastic on the mic. When Cass came out and talked, the only thing I had a little bit of a problem with is like he kept like over enunciating some of his words. Like he would finish saying it and he would try and say it with such impact that he would pause after words that didn't need to pause after them. Otherwise, I thought it was fantastic. The things he said were great. And I loved that they let Big Cass get the win. Having him actually be the one to get the pinfall was fantastic. And I'm loving that they're making the New Day finally officially a face tag team. Because I know they say things that piss people off sometimes, but they're so over at this point. I'm glad they're a face team, especially because of how many heel teams they have. So overall, like the tag team division, I feel like is strong, especially now that they broke up the League of Nations. To have them gone now and have they're bringing up the big teams from NXT, and they already have some established teams, and then to bring in Gallows and Anderson, and having them revitalize the Usos too. I feel like we're gonna see the tag team division really take off from this. So.
Yeah, I'm glad to see the League of Booty is no more. But when I want to disagree with you on one point that you just made, though, Grove. I think his over-enunciation, I thought Cass actually shined in this segment. Being by himself out there, still showing, hey, I can be funny too. And I thought he's improved greatly from his time in NXT when he was by himself to now. I thought that all his stuff was enunciated on purpose like that to show people, hey, if you're not getting what I'm saying, like the Dudley do right and all that stuff. So I like it. Even the stutter when he did that, I thought that was funny for the old school
That
fans.
was fantastic.
Yeah. Rez, what do you think of the tag division right now with these 4 teams?
It's really good. I like what the Vaudevillains are doing. They're definitely playing off of all the situations like with Enzo and everything like that. And they got pretty far. I'm glad that the tournament came down to Vaudevillains and Enzo and Cass. I feel like those 2 teams definitely deserved it. The Dudley Boys, they're good and everything, but they're just kind of there to make it go along, despite what they say. But they still put on good matches, though, so, I mean, that's good.
I think the Dudley Boys are doing a great job, though, still. I think that they're going to earn that 10th title run. I think it's going to happen. It's just going to be a little bit later than everyone thinks.
Yeah.
Just my opinion. I'll tell you guys right now what I think is going on here. Personally, I see Vaudevillains will get the next tag title shot against New Day. New Day will defeat the Vaudevillains because Vince doesn't believe in them or whatever he thinks. New Day gets the win, and I think Anderson and Gallows will be the ones to defeat them. And then it's going to be a big match at either SummerSlam or Night of Champions where Enzo and Cass take the belts from them. That's just what I see happening. I don't know if anyone else feels the same way, but that's just me. We get to the next segment. There's a video that airs basically explaining Ric Flair and Charles Robinson. I thought last night that if you didn't watch WCW, you had no idea what the linkage was to Ric Flair and Charles Robinson, a.k.a. Little Nate. So they basically showed a video to educate the fans, and I was like, oh, okay, whatever. That was nice. Nice touch for creative stuff. So I give them props for that, which leads to a match with Emma defeating Becky Lynch, which pretty good. I mean, it was an okay match. Emma picks up the win. Nothing bad to say, nothing really good to say. It was just there kind of for me.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, what do you think of Emma and her resurgence, basically, since she's been brought back up to the main roster?
Not gonna lie, I mean, I really liked Emma. I really am an Emma fan. I was never a fan of Emma's awkward dance moves and all that stuff, just because I knew she was really talented. Her as a heel, I think, is great. I like Emma as a heel. I'm really thanking God that when they brought her up, they didn't bring Dana Brooke with. I really like her on her own in this situation. And honestly, she's deserved to be on the main roster for a long time. And Emma is a really overlooked talent, in my opinion. To see her get the win over Becky, who's been in the main event for women lately, that makes me very happy because I feel like Emma deserves it, and I feel like that she's going to be a big player in the new women's division. I'm really happy about that.
Rez, how are you feeling about this match with Emma and Becky Lynch?
It was pretty good. I'm with Grobe. He pretty much just stole the words from her mouth. But I forget, did she come out with the aviators? Did Emma come out with the aviators? Because that cracks me up. Like, whenever I see Emma come out with the aviators, she always gives me that Top Gun kind of feel. Just the way she looks and, like, the aviators. I always, jokingly call her M. Maverick because, Maverick, Top Gun. It's just very fitting. Yeah, I definitely agree. I like that they're putting, like, Natalya and Emma kind of in a brighter light now, because you've always had just like a couple prominent women on top, but now it seems like they're kind of giving everyone a chance to kind of shine. And Emma defeating Becky was a good way to show that someone else can also shine a little bit, So I mean, all in all, it was good. I like the way they're going with the women's division.
I just don't want anyone to forget about Becky Lynch. Like, I feel bad for her because I feel like she's getting thrown wayside a little bit, but I'm trying not to think of it that way for right now. I think she's a great talent as well, and she needs to still be focused on and pick up some key victories.
I think Becky will
I
come
agree
back
with you
around.
there. Go ahead, Rez.
I think Becky will come back around. I think there's just more with the other women for now, but I do see Becky coming back around and being on top again.
I guess let me ask this question as well while I'm here. Sasha Banks, and if you guys are watching, you can answer in the comment section below. Do they need to pull the trigger on Sasha Banks now? Because at Payback, I didn't mention this before, they were chanting for Sasha Banks during Charlotte and Natalia's match.
All right. I was just about to say this because I know we were just talking about the other women, and I know you're concerned about Becky going to the wayside. I'm sorry, but I am having a really hard time with this women's division. Sasha just disappears for weeks on end, and it drives me nuts because the boss deserves a lot more than she's getting. She should have got that title at Mania. They put her to the wayside for way too long. I know she was injured for a little bit of that time, but honestly, like post-Mania, the fact that she didn't get the shot and they're pushing Natty, I love Natty to death, but that Payback should have been the rematch from Mania, in my opinion. Like Becky and Sasha deserved another shot at that without Rick screwing it up. Honestly, pulling the trigger on Sasha right now makes sense to me. The fans want her so bad. You hear it during every Divas match. Every week you hear them chanting for Sasha Banks. And honestly, like the boss needs to get some shine here because right now they're just shoving her to the wayside, and it's really disappointing because honestly, I think out of the women's wrestlers in there right now, I feel like she's at least in the top 3, if not the number 1 women's wrestler, skills wise, in my opinion.
Rez, what are you thinking of Sasha Banks? Is it time to pull the trigger and give her the belt or the title shot, or do you think they can hold off till SummerSlam and it'll be okay?
I said it earlier. I think they should have pulled the trigger at Mania. The thing that really pissed me off with Mania is like, okay, Becky had like a normal entrance, and okay, Charlotte did the whole Ric Flair thing, coming out in the robe, all Flair, entrance, like, similarities. But then you have Sasha, who came out and she had, the Eddie Guerrero themed outfit. She had Snoop Dogg out there. She had the actual artist come out and do her song for the entrance live. And then she lost. It's like, why would you go through all that effort to make her entrance really good and then just have her lose? Like, I feel like they should have made Sasha win at Mania if they were going to do all that stuff just for Sasha. I feel like that would have been the time to pull the trigger because a lot of people wanted it. A lot of people still want Sasha. That was the ideal time to me to pull the trigger.
Also, for the viewers, make sure to notice at WrestleMania, if you get a special entrance, you're probably losing. Just go back and look at history. Just throwing it out there. Every special Triple H entrance he's ever had, tell me when he's won. Very rarely.
Gotta agree with you there. Honestly, too, the other thing that I'm bothered by is, honestly, have we seen Sasha more than like once since Mania? That's the other thing that's bugging me. Like, she had this huge high at Mania, like the Eddie Guerrero and everything that Rez just mentioned, and then since Mania, she came out, didn't even really talk during the segment where Charlotte like got presented the title for the second time, and then she's had like 1 or 2 sporadic matches, and otherwise she's been non-existent. Becky's still remaining in the forefront, and Sasha's getting shoved to the back again. So it's like, at least Becky's at least even getting backstage segments. Sasha's not getting anything again, and it's frustrating because Sasha deserves more than that.
Yeah.
Becky eating salad with chopsticks was hilarious.
That was weird. Weird. But, yeah, I think they're just trying to protect Sasha Banks for right now. But I'm going to move on to the next segment. You get to the Ambrose Asylum with Stephanie. Ambrose has her out there and he's grilling her, basically. She's ducking and dodging the questions. And she basically cancels his show on him, basically the same way what happened with Shane. and brings Y2J back, and Ambrose was taking this stuff out of the ring. You know, Jericho comes out and takes a cheap shot at him, and basically, I like this spot because it reminded me of like 80s wrestling a little bit, where he cracks a potted plant over Dean Ambrose's head. It looked brutal. It got the sympathy card for me. I'm like, oh yeah, that looked bad. So overall, I thought it was a good segment, and I do like that they're leading up to this feud a little bit more. I'm not gonna complain about it just yet. I think it was fine. What are you guys feeling? Do you guys like Y2J and Ambrose continuing, or do you want to see it end? Grow.
Well, honestly, like I think the feud is heating up. I think the best thing about the feud, honestly, like the best thing about that segment for me right now was a tweet that happened like not long after, where they were talking about Mitch has gone to heaven with Francesca 1. I thought that was fantastic. Honestly, I prefer the highlight reel over the Ambrose Asylum. Dean's great on the mic, but I feel like Jericho's just got a better segment and it's been there for longer. Got the Jerichon and the production value, but overall, I liked the segment. I liked watching. Dean's so good. He's really good at like playing off of a lot of people, and him and Stephanie have a lot of chemistry. So, them talking about it. I think my favorite quote of that whole segment was her getting speared out of her Tina Turner boots. That was fantastic. Otherwise, I thought it was a good segment, and I honestly, like, after seeing how good their match was at Payback, I don't mind seeing this. There's not anybody else I'd really rather see Jericho feud with right now, and Dean's just such a workhorse; he can be with anybody. So I'm good with that continuing on, and at least giving them both something to do instead of letting them just kind of sit there.
Yeah, Rez, same thing.
I actually kind of like the Ambrose Asylum. I felt like Dean Ambrose could showcase his personality a little bit more. But the segment was really good. I liked it. Everything that Grubb said was pretty much on point. I don't know. He's got good chemistry with Stephanie, but it's all about what happens with Stephanie later on, as opposed to Shane and whatnot. But as far as Y2J and Dean Ambrose, it's kind of like earlier. I'm just not really invested in it. I'm more invested in Dean Ambrose than Y2J. It's just Y2J. Just you see him there, and you know it's just nothing really special. It's just Chris Jericho. That's it. So
yeah, you're just kind of waiting for the next Fozzy tour.
Yeah. I don't know. So I hope this catapults Dean more, or it ties him over until Dean can do something bigger again. But yeah, as far as Jericho, I'm tired of Jericho in general.
Okay, I can live with your opinion on that. We get to the next match. It's a battle royal. Number one contender for the U.S. title. Ryback put on the graphic, wasn't there. Talk about that later. I have some notes here. Kalisto was awful on commentary for this match. He said a lot of stupid stuff. Like, it's up there with Yoshitatsu at Wrestle Kingdom bad. Like, Botchamania's gonna have a field day with it. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, that's my tag partner, you know. And I'm like, yeah, obviously you're tag partners. JBL just asked you a question about that. I don't know. I didn't like some of the stuff Kalisto was saying. He looked uncomfortable in that position. But I could have, if I was betting money on this match, I would have said Sheamus is winning this, and I'm so glad he didn't. Rusev winning, like 50-50 with it. I like Rusev. I think he's been doing phenomenal work, and I think that he actually got himself into really good shape compared to when he first came in. So I think Rusev could be on the ball here. I don't know if they're doing Kalisto is defeating like people who are stronger than him, or what the storyline's supposed to be. But I'm okay with Rusev winning for right now. What about you guys?
I think Rusev. I'm excited to see him get more of a push. I feel like Rusev would really benefit from the scenario that Miz is in. like Miz has Maurice. It's like if they let Lana and Rusev kind of feed off that and really just showcase them together more than they have in the past, I feel like Rusev would be higher up in the cards. But Rusev is really good. I've always liked his moveset and his in-ring ability. I'm glad that he did win that match on Raw.
Yeah. I like what you said, that could be a good feud in the future if one of them turns face. Maybe you have Rusev and Lana versus Miz and Maurice. Just throwing something out there. Grove, what did you think of it?
Honestly, I liked it. I liked that they continued the Corbin and Dolph feud during that. The only thing that I enjoyed Kalisto bringing up in his commentary was bringing up JBL losing to Rey Mysterio in 20 seconds at WrestleMania. That was pretty good, just watching JBL stutter on that. Match overall, it's a battle royal. I mean, it is what it is. It's somebody getting a paycheck for not doing a lot. I mean, Sando was out there for a little bit, but hey, he got a big paycheck for being on the show. So, I was pretty disappointed seeing that they put 3 of the 4 members of the former League of Nations in the Final 4. Ryder getting that almost moment, it reminded me. Honestly, I'm watching it and I'm thinking of the moment when Del Rio won the Royal Rumble from Santino. That's what I was thinking of right there. I mean, honestly, any excuse to get to see Lana more is okay in my book. When she came out, I was like, damn. Keeping that little, Ziggler, keeping that little thing she got from Ziggler with her showing off more skin and still being businesslike. I was like, well, I'm glad she kept that part of being with Ziggler. Honestly, I was a big Rusev fan when he came out. Gonna be kind of disappointed not to see my boy Putin on the Titantron every week, but otherwise, the Bulgarian Brute getting a title shot, I'm happy about. Honestly, the only thing that I'm disappointed with this is the fact that Rusev decided to wear the new tights. Not digging those new tights on Rusev. Misses shorts. He does not look good in those tights, but otherwise, I think he'll be a good feud for Kalisto, and let Kalisto maybe exhibit a little bit more than Ryback, because he's got a little bit more diverse moveset than Ryback, in my opinion. I don't know. I'm excited to see this feud. I hope it actually turns out they do something with it instead of it just being big guy versus little guy again, and Kalisto's overcoming the odds. And I agree with you. I really thought Sheamus was winning this match, and thank you God that Sheamus did not win this match. I've seen enough Sheamus in title matches this year, so.
We here at Everything Pro Wrestling do believe in the President of the United States, despite our panel's comments. So that was just a little sidebar. So Rusev picks up victory. Next segment gets Ric Flair and Charlotte saying they didn't screw Natalya at Payback. And Natalya attacks Charlotte and Ric Flair, gets in her face. They had little Nate out there too, whatever, to justify stuff. Ends up putting him in the sharpshooter. Knocks Charlotte out the ring. Flair's in the sharpshooter. He took off his jacket, Rolex, Hall of Fame ring, making a big deal out of it. And then Charlotte puts all of it on. Normal WWE segment. Yeah, that's just how I feel about it. It was okay. You know where they're going. And they basically set up a submission match between them here from this. So at Extreme Rules, we're going to see a submission match with Natalya and Charlotte.
Key point in that, Rick is banned from ringside. That is huge for me. That is huge for me. Otherwise, I mean, the segment itself, it adds to what I said before. Ric Flair is the women's champion, not Charlotte. And just emphasizing again, just like they did in WCW, Little Nate should never have a microphone, ever.
Horrible.
He totally botched it. They're like, your relationship with my dad didn't affect it at all. And then he's like, yeah, I mean, no. And I'm like, oh, oh God. I'm like, just get out of the ring, Charles. Just get out of the ring.
I think he's just a PG product. They wanted him to look goofy a little bit just because of who he is.
It was bad. But I mean, overall, the segment was eh. I mean, it's exactly what you said. It's eh. I mean, anything with Charlotte lately has been eh for me. So,
Rez, what do you think? Overall segment.
The overall segment was good. I loved that Natty put on the Rolex and the Hall of Fame ring, just kind of stealing what Rick had. I thought that was great. As far as Charles, it's just like, yeah, I didn't expect too much of him. He's a ref. It's really like, shouldn't expect too much from him. I mean, yeah, you can talk about, oh, he botched it when he was like, yeah, no. But it's like, he's a ref. Like, you can't expect him to, be flawless out there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all in all, it was good. You just gotta let it slide. He's a ref. He's not like an actual talent that, goes out there and cuts promos every week. So, I mean, I cut him some slack.
Guys, we get to the main event, which I thought was really good, actually. You get AJ Styles, Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows defeating Roman Reigns and the Usos. Anderson and Gallows, at the end of the match, basically jump Reigns with a steel chair, and they want AJ to finish the job. AJ refuses, puts the chair down. The Usos come in and hit AJ with a chair shot, super kick Anderson and Gallows out of the ring. And AJ then goes and grabs a chair and starts wailing on the Usos. It's like, oh, you're not going to hit me with a chair and get away. Then I'm hitting you back. Roman sees it, and angry Roman comes out like, oh, I'm mad now. And he Superman punches AJ and powerbombs him through an announcer table. So I don't know how to take this. I felt very weird watching this. This felt very like New Generation-ish with like how they set it up and whose side are you on. Because AJ did nothing wrong. He defended himself. So why? I don't know. Roman got mad, and he could have decked Roman and ended him. So, does AJ look foolish? Kind of. So, I don't know. What do you guys think of the segment here at the end? Girl?
Honestly, I'm a little scared about this segment because this is leading. I can feel it leading down this Roman heel switch. I feel like that if Anderson and Gallows were holding that chair for Roman Reigns would have taken the hit. He would have hit AJ. I'm so scared that this prediction that people have had about Gallows and Anderson going with Reigns, I pray to God that that doesn't happen. Honestly, like this whole heel Reigns thing, I feel like is a little bit weird. He looked straight up heel in this segment. I mean, like when he got angry, he got the angry face and he started shaking, and then he busted out the hoo-ah and the power bomb through the table. I was like, oh look, Shield Roman is back. Like, I don't know. Overall, I thought it wasn't a terrible segment. I just thought it was weird. The match itself I thought was great. I'm really glad for who picked up the win on that, especially after Roman's like, yeah, you guys can't beat us, with the whole Bullet Club and Roman Empire thing. And I was like, I'm really glad they were the ones to pick up the win. But the post-match, I was really disappointed that they made him look so weak at the end.
I don't think it made him look weak. I think it was just story progression with it. But I get it. Rez, what do you think of the overall main event for Raw?
I think it was good. It keeps it going. The whole AJ not taking or not swinging at Roman, it was just kind of going along with what AJ has been doing. I'm glad that he didn't, just give in. It was like, all right, screw it. I'm just gonna attack Reigns with this chair. At the same time, it got me thinking, like, what if at some point Gallows and Anderson, they're just gonna be like, all right, we've you guys still there? Yeah. And if they're just like, oh well, AJ's not really like on the same page as us, what if Balor comes in and they're like, all right, well, Balor's willing to play ball. Like,
you have multiple ways you can go with this. That's the beauty of this storyline still. Like I said, you could go have AJ actually do the turn, fool some people. You could have Balor pick up the slack. You could have Roman take over. You could have the Usos and Roman switch to the heels and make these guys the faces. You could go so many different ways. So that's the beauty of it. That's Raw in a nutshell, folks. If you're still sticking around with us watching, we're going to get to our last segment. Basically, 3 quick topics that I just want to go through with you guys real quick. First, Ryback is sent home after there's a dispute basically about his contract. And there's a post on Tumblr or Twitter, one of his social media posts, where you can see it on all the wrestling websites. Ryback's being sent home. Do you agree with what he's saying overall right now about the talent should be paid equally from whether they're winning or losing? I mean, what he's saying is making sense. Just because I'm losing, they have like this archaic in his rant idea of if you win, you should get more money. And he says everyone knows that the winners are predetermined. I did my job. I did everything I was supposed to do, and now I'm not getting anything. So, Grove, what do you think of that overall with Ryback?
Well, we just lost Rez, but otherwise, I mean, that segment, honestly, like him leaving and everything, I feel like he asked to be sent home with the CM Punk taunt before his match, and the pre-show stopper belt. He definitely was not doing himself any favors with those things. He says in the social media thing that he asked to be taken off television. I highly doubt that. I don't know. Like, I like Ryback. His social media post is exactly what you said, though. It's very archaic. Like, he knows the business. He's been in the business long enough. That's the way it is. I mean, we all know that. Us fans know that's how this business works. Like, you can't just he can't just show up and be like that. I mean, I don't know, the way that post went on. I mean, you said it earlier when we were in a chat while you were reading it. You're like, yeah, this boy ain't coming back, and I wholeheartedly agree. I think Ryback's gone. I think Ryberg is dead, and it's too bad. I mean, I think he came into his own with that IC title run this year, and I feel like he could have done something more. And I honestly don't mind Ryback. I liked Ryback when he first showed up, and I feel bad that he isn't getting on with this contract. And you know, he's asking for it himself, though. With the stuff he posted today, it's very, very evident he's not too concerned about getting re-signed, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I mean, he's in a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation. I mean, he wants more. You got to say you want more and try and earn it, and they're still not willing to give it to you. So he's trying to do something with himself here. So I'll be interested to see where it goes. Rez, do you have any thoughts on the Ryback news and what's going on with that?
I'm gonna chime in on the Ryback thing. I think Ryback he's just bad. Like, WWE is facing like tons of like injuries with their superstars. When you look at Ryback, it's like Punk said. You know, he injures people, and a prime example is Luke Harper got injured in the match in that tag match, and he got injured because of Ryback. So it's like Ryback has injured multiple people, and I think WWE might just be like, well, you injure people multiple times. Like, this is not good. We're sending you home. That's kind of how I look at it.
I got you. Next topic, guys. Is Vince McMahon misusing these NXT call-ups? And you can go back to whenever, but some guys I feel he is, and some guys I feel he's not. Like, there's 3 tiers to it. There's like, oh, you don't want to wind up like Tyler Breeze. But then you got like a Baron Corbin, and it's like, oh, he's doing okay, but maybe he should have stayed in NXT. Maybe he shouldn't have, like the Apollo Crews Baron Corbin. And then I feel like there's the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, like that's who you want to be. look at, he's giving those guys a chance. That's why I got to get on the main roster. And so, what do you guys think? Is Vince misusing NXT talents or what?
Rez, you go first because I got a lot to say on this subject.
All right, I'll keep this short and sweet. But yeah, a little bit. I think he's misusing them a little bit. I think Triple H should have more of a hand with the NXT people on the main roster, and not so much Vince, because Triple H, brought him up. It's like they're his babies. It's like he watched them in NXT, helped them along the way. But main roster, it's like you have Tyler Breeze, who's just nothing has gone his way, and it's horrible. But I think Triple H should be more involved with those people, and take the reins from Vince and be like, well, I know these guys. I've already worked with them in NXT. Let me handle them.
In a fantasy world, that would be great, but I know in reality, Vince will never let that happen. He's not giving anybody.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Gro. Keep it short for me here.
Well, here's how I'm going to start this off. I'm going to start it off with a quote from Enzo Amore, where it says, "I'm going to say the worst thing. I could say the worst thing ever. I'm going to call them the worst thing ever. The worst thing that I could say about the Ascension is, well, you're the Ascension." I mean, like, man, I love the Ascension. I go back and I watch all of their stuff in NXT, and they were the best tag team in WWE NXT, anywhere involved with WWE at the time. They were fantastic. They held the titles for over a year, completely just dominated everybody. Bring them up to the main roster, and you job them out to frickin' the New Age Outlaws. I mean, like, they have become the biggest joke in the WWE, and that makes me so mad. And then that was just a precursor, because then they brought up Tyler Breeze. They gave him a little shine with his feud with Dolph, and then boom, done with Tyler Breeze again. Apollo Crews is going to get pushed because he's the body size that Vince likes, and he's going to be he's Vince's idea for, oh boy, I got another guy who kind of looks like Bobby Lashley. I can make him big. And I get that, I get where, and that's the thing, the guys who are ripped and built get those pushes. I feel like Sami Zayn's only getting the big pops that he's getting because Sami Zayn came to the main roster, and as soon as he showed up, the fans knew who he was. They were invested in him before he got there. Sami Zayn was in NXT for a long time. When he came out for that, Vince only is pushing Sami because of the reaction Sami got the night he fought John Cena for that U.S. title. When he came out and that reaction happened, you knew Sami Zayn, when he gets on that main roster, is going to get that push. Kevin Owens wasn't going to let Vince not push Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is vocal. Kevin Owens knows how to impress. He knows how to work the mic. Some of the guys that they brought up have some mic issues. Honestly, Tyler Breeze is great on the mic, but they don't let him talk. So I feel like Vince is going to push the hell out of Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews, when I think they're standing a much better chance than Tyler Breeze. That's a shame, because I feel like Tyler put in his work. Same with the Ascension. Those two groups right there, I mean, they put in their work for a long time in NXT and earned their right to come to the main roster. And they're getting treated like second-class citizens, in my opinion. And honestly, like, I like Apollo Crews as much as the next guy, but Apollo didn't need to come to the main roster yet. Apollo hadn't done enough in NXT to come to the main roster, especially when you got guys like Samoa Joe and Austin Aries down on NXT who could have came up right away and really done some really big things on the main roster. I'm glad to see those guys in NXT too, but when they come up on that main roster, I feel like Vince is just not giving them the work that they should be getting. And yeah, going back to the Ascension is just my perfect example of the sadness I have. The two tag teams that have come up, praise the Lord, Vince is actually holding on and giving them a shot. I was really worried for the Vaudevillains. I'm not going to lie. I was very worried for them coming up because I didn't know how their gimmick would go over on the main roster. But so far, they're getting the push, so I really hope that they don't get the Ascension treatment after they lose to the New Day at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, we'll see what goes on with them. We all seem to be of the opinion that Vince is possibly more than likely misusing these talents, and hopefully Vince figures out what they are, or someone explains to Vince, hey, this is what New Day is, or not New Day, I'm sorry, what Enzo and Cass are. This is what Tyler Breeze is. This is why they do these things. Hopefully he gets it eventually. Yeah. Last question, guys, before we end the show tonight. Rumors has it that the WCW concept of WarGames could be returning soon. I saw a cool graphic on Twitter with Team Roman Empire, and it showed Roman Reigns, Samoa Joe, and the Usos. And then they had one side where it had AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson on the other side. Would you guys like to see the WarGames match return? Did you like the concept of it? What do you guys think of it? Whoever wants to go first, guys.
I'll go first.
Go
I think it'd be cool. There's different ways you can play this out. One way is like you said with Joe and the Roman Usos versus like all the Balor Club or Bullet Club, all them. But another way you can go too is eventually you could have Stephanie and Shane butt heads, and then you could have like their two teams inside WarGames going at it. Or you could probably have the main roster versus the NXT roster because both are good.
I don't know if you want to do that to those NXT guys just yet, because Vince isn't putting NXT over his main guys. That's where you come to eventually. But what I was going to say to this point was that I think this match is definitely more suitable for Survivor Series than right now. I'm hoping that's maybe when they're planning for it, because I think that's a great way to end a pay-per-view like that. Add pinfalls and submissions, same way that WCW used to do it, but just add pinfalls with it. But if you're done, Rez, go ahead. Keep making your point. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, I said what I was.
Okay. Grove?
All right, so personally, I am super, super excited if they do actually bring back WarGames. I was a huge fan of WarGames. I did see that graphic that you're talking about. Honestly, I feel like that match, they put Joe in there because Joe's Samoan. I honestly think it should be Reigns, Ambrose, and the Usos versus the Bullet Club. Any way you look at it, though, I mean, WarGames, you bring those guys up, you put that kind of match together. You're right, though. Survivor Series is the place to have it, to have an elimination style, just like you would have had like a Survivor Series match, because they've kind of gotten away from the traditional Survivor Series match the last few years. So I really like to see something like WarGames come in to kind of revitalize it, make it a little bit more appealing to the fans. I loved WarGames back in WCW, so when I heard that they were thinking of bringing it back, super pumped. And I just feel like it's a good way to put over a lot of talent all in one match. Even if you did like multiple matches, and if they do it as a pay-per-view on its own, like even if they do it as like a WWE Network special, like they did Elimination Chamber last year. Honestly, like if they do it that way, I would hope that they do a couple of matches of WarGames where they have maybe that main event of like Roman, Dean, the Usos versus the Bullet Club, but then do like another one where it's like kind of like those kind of oddball superstars, like throw in like a Zack Ryder and some of those guys who need that shine and give them that chance to really shine in there. I feel like that would be a cool way to do it too. Get a few guys some extra shine. Overall, though, I'm excited for the idea of bringing back WarGames because it was a great concept. The double ring with the cages and everything, I feel like that would be really cool.
Definitely, gentlemen. I have to thank you both for coming on the show tonight. Grove, if you got any shout-outs, anything you want to say, this is your time to do it, so go ahead, brother.
Honestly, I just, I don't have a lot to say. I mean, the only thing I've got right now is I've got a YouTube channel that I upload any of my league matches too. That's pretty much the only thing. It's just Grope 1589 on YouTube. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've got is just those league matches. If you like Kevin Owens, watch those matches because that's pretty much all I got on there. Is I got some Owens stuff and I got some Barrett stuff from last year. But otherwise, yeah, good stuff. Yeah, just glad to be on here and featured.
Rez, anything you want to shout out real quick?
I really don't have like any shout outs really. I want to apologize for me cutting out a couple times, not intentional. But thanks Conrad for inviting me on here again. It was so much fun both times I've been on here. So thanks.
Absolutely, guys. And for you guys who are watching it, if you ever do want to come on the show, send me a message on Twitter, Facebook. Once again, join the group chat. Have fun. We'll talk about it. I've gotten several other messages. Lots of great guys come on. Casey Briggs, Doc G, PM Dawn, my boy Cactus. We've had a lot of good people come on the show, guys, and I'm looking for more guests all the time. So if you want to be on, shoot me a message. It's not a problem. I'm still looking for other guests, too, to come on, switch it up all the time. Shout out to Ant the Gamer. I know he definitely came on. He did a good job. Appreciate him. Thank you to anyone who's ever came on and who's liked the video, watched it. Next week is episode 20. I can't believe I've been doing this for 20 weeks straight already. Really great. Feel really blessed that I've been able to do it this long, and hopefully the show keeps continuing and growing. Everything else is working out well. If you guys got any feedback for me, leave it in the comment section. I read them all, I promise you. Thank you guys. Let's continue to watch wrestling this week. Definitely check out Ring of Honor's pay-per-view. Posted in the group chat on Facebook. Pay-per-view looks phenomenal. Main event, Jay Lethal versus Colt Cabana. Definitely something that everyone should watch. Can't wait for it. But this is Everything Pro Wrestling. Thank you guys. And we are out.